To Kill a Mockingbird, written by Harper Lee. I'd rather you shoot at tin cans in the backyard, but I know you'll go after birds. Shoot all the blue jays you want, if you can hit 'em, but remember, it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. Lee 103, a quote from the novel To Kill a Mockingbird, written by Harper Lee. This novel was based on real-life events that Lee had experienced as a child. The events in the novel took place during 1936, during the Great Depression. It wasn't until 24 years later, though, in 1960, that the book had been published. The events in the novel had taken place during the same time the Scottsboro Boys had been taken to court. What's the Great Depression, you ask? The Great Depression was a terrible worldwide economic drop that had begun on September 4th, 1929. It had started in the United States and slowly spread throughout the rest of the world, which caused many severe changes to the economy in every country. This includes unemployment rate increasing by 33%, taxes increased, product prices decreased, international trade dropped more than 50%, as well as 50% of crops failed to be sold, causing them to all go to waste. There may have been other Great Depressions you have heard of over the years, but this was by far the worst. During this major change, many people were framed, killed, and fined for crimes they did not commit. People did anything for money during these hard times. This is the exact situation the Scottsboro Boys had found themselves into on March 25, 1931. 9 African-American boys, Charlie Weems, Clarence Norris, Andy Wright, Ozzie Powell, Olin Montgomery, Eugene Williams, Willie Robertson, and Haywood Pattison and Roy White, had hitched a ride on a train from Chattanooga to Memphis. The cheapest way to travel, of course, was hoboing. The same train held many other people, including Victoria Price and Ruby Bates. Once the train crossed the Alabama border, a simple fight had broken out between a group of blacks and a group of whites, all young men. They started to throw rocks, yelling and screaming, turning into a fight of pushing each other off the slow-moving train. The group of blacks had gotten all but one of the white boys off the train, for when the speed of the train increased, they had decided to help the last white boy back up, which saved him from getting dangerously injured or even killed. This goes to show that it was only a simple fight between two different races, showing discrimination against the blacks. Of course, that is not how the escaping white men were thinking at the time. The boys instantly ran to the nearest train station to report a black gang assault. Pleading they did not start a brawl and only defended themselves, which was not the case. Soon after, Victoria Price and Ruby Bates, 2 mill workers from Huntsville, had come forward with news of an African-American gang of 12 carrying knives and pistols had raped them both. These allegations were enough for 8 Scottsboro boys found to be thrown in jail until the trial was held, 12 days later. Trial after trial, even though all signs pointed to innocence, they were all found guilty and half were sentenced to death for wrong allegations, because looking past the color of a man's skin was something nobody could do. Tom Robinson, an African-American man, and also a character in To Kill a Mockingbird, was a loving, hard-working man. Tom was married, had 3 children, and he was very much loved by all his friends and family. One spring evening, his caring personality costed him his life. He saw a girl in need of help and thought he was obligated to assist her. When she went to kiss him, he ran, and her father beat her almost to death. Tom Robinson only committed the crime of being sorry for a young lady, which had costed him to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. The lady, Mayella Ewell, and her father, Bob Ewell, made false accusations of Tom raping Mayella because of the embarrassment she caused the Ewell family. Trial after trial, even though all signs pointed to innocence, Tom was found guilty and was killed for wrong allegations, because looking past the color of a man's skin was something nobody could do. These are just 2 examples of hundreds of people who were discriminated during the Depression. Themes present in both these cases included discrimination, lies, and prejudice. All blacks at this time were never seen for who they really were, and never had fair trials. All suspects that were innocent until proven guilty, but these men did not get the benefit of the doubt. Lies were told under court oath and easily were believed. Lies are the only factor that ended innocent men's lives. A prejudice, a prejudgment or forming of an opinion before becoming aware of irrelevant facts of the case. Prejudice was the theme throughout the whole novel and the Great Depression. These found themes are all factors that led to the death of hundreds of innocent African American people through saddening years of the Depression. I wanted you to see what real courage is, instead of getting the idea that courage is a man with a gun in his hand. It's when you know you're licked before you begin, but you begin anyway, and you see it through, no matter what. You rarely win, but sometimes you do. Lee 128. Harper Lee had written an amazing novel that perfectly represented the time during the Depression. She perfectly captured the sorrow, the hard times, and the changes from childhood to adolescence through the events that took place. To Kill a Mockingbird, described as one of the best love stories of all times, was a compelling novel about growing up, love, discrimination, prejudice, and the importance of family.